to get back into the game, wants to finish the series out, trying to take out Slayers. Clyde, both players are ready. I don't see any reason to wait.
Let's go.
I'm hitting the button. Boom.
Ding.
I just started the game, and we're going to see who comes out. Beastyqt versus Slayers. Clyde, it's going to be awesome, guys. I'm so glad this went to Game 3. Good luck. Have fun to our players.
I wonder what kind of game we're going to be seeing in game number 3, DoA. We'll have to wait and find out. But spawning over here in the bottom right position in game, ladies and gentlemen, representing Team Empire here at the Gigabyte Esports LAN. Will he be able to take the series off our Korean player? It is Beastyqt.
That's right. Can I introduce the other one?
In the top left, DoA, who is playing?
We have, again in the pink, deciding to just let his opponent have the blue, our Terran player from the Team Slayers. It is Clyde. And he's regrown the Clyde burns as well, I must say.
He has indeed.
They're looking quite formidable.
They are. Yeah. Maybe that was the source of his GSL slump.
You know, when I was in Korea last year and Wolf and I went to the TSL house, we actually attempted to explain the phenomenon of Clyde burns to Clyde himself, because he'd seen it on Twitter. People were tweeting at him about Clyde burns, and he was like, "What is Clyde burns?" And we're like, "Well, it's like." We're like, these are called sideburns, and your name is Clyde, so and you have big sideburns, so and he's like, oh. Okay, you didn't really get it, but we know it's funny, so it's okay. We all laugh.
He tried. He really tried.
That's right.
So what kind of game do you think we're going to be seeing in game number 3?
Man, you know, I would assume, and the thing is you really can't assume in TvT or any mirror matchup, really, but if I had to make a wager...
I think I know where Beastie's going.
That's right. He has the direction in mind, but I think given the map choice by Beastyqt, he wants to go for a quicker expand this time around, nothing cheesy, wants to play that standard TvT that we saw him play in Game 1. He played it almost flawlessly as well. I mean, really it was the small mistakes that Clyde was making that lost him the game. Beastyqt probably could count on a similar situation, but then again, I mean, Clyde, it's tough. I mean, he is known as a macro Terran player, and he has a wide variety of styles, so it's always going to be a little bit dangerous. This series could really go either way.
And it looks like despite the arrow being drawn by the barracks telling him where his opponent is, he isn't actually following the arrow. He's going to be scouting the top right position first before checking out those cross positions. And both sides, no, not both sides, pardon me. Beastyqt going for one racks expand, but gas being taken from Clyde. So, unlike Game 1, and arguably unlike Game 2, because both sides kind of went a bit crazy, we have a difference of opinion in Game 3.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Banshees are so popular right now in TvT in Korea that I wouldn't be surprised to see Clyde go for something like that, even though it is cross spawns, and the Banshee would have to go, you know, all around the outside. Oh, look at that, Clyde getting in, scouting as well, sees the gas timing.
Oh, does he? No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Okay.
Yes, he does.
Wow, that was so close to him not seeing it. And actually, the second gas got put down just as that SCV was dying. Let me take a quick look and see if he saw that. He did not.
He can probably make a pretty good educated guess upon seeing the command center's opponent. Did he see the second command center? I think he did not. Oh, that's actually big. Okay, so here's what Clyde saw when he came in. He saw what was a very late gas. And so he has two things going through his mind. He can be like, all right, that's a very late gas. Or what he's probably thinking is, okay, that's a late gas. Most likely there was a command center somewhere in that base that I missed. So Clyde should still kind of have a good idea about what's going on, even though he didn't expressly see it. So we'll have to see kind of how he reacts from that. Clyde, in the meantime, he's got his factory on the way, and there's a reactor on the barracks. So yeah, it looks like we may see some Hellions from Clyde. You know, there's a tech lab on that barracks too. I wonder if we're going to see Blue Flame Hellions out of Clyde. He does like to play mechs from time to time in TvT. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe we are going to see Banshees afterwards. In fact, it's probably going to be Banshees, but I just love mech, you know? You know me. I have to like hope for mech.
Well, it's entirely possible. I mean, TvT... Oh, and we do have a Reaper going to be sneaking in here, actually killing the SCV, making that bunker, but wow, getting out of that base with only 2 health is the Reaper from Slayers Clyde.
Yeah.
One thing we do have to say about mech and TvT, though, is Terrans recently have been really cluing up on using Marauders effectively. And especially when you catch the odd Thor or Siege Tank out of position, Marauders can really hurt and ruin your day if you even get a single engagement wrong. Which is why we see a lot of biomech going down. And wow, this is interesting stuff from Clyde.
Yeah, so Clyde is going to make reactored Hellions, all right? And while he does this, he's going to go ahead and just get a lot of Marines out of that barracks, it looks like, as many as he can produce, you know, one at a time. Looks like he wants to start a starport there. That's a bit surprising, though. In fact, I think when Beastyqt sees that, he's going to be like, oh, okay, Banshees, I guess? But I think at this point, with that third command center, Clyde is probably going to want to go for a Viking first, just on the off chance that his opponent's going Banshee as well. But honestly, how much has Clyde seen out of his opponent's base at this point? Has he seen any more since before? No, not really.
Well, he has seen the Orbital Command with the Reaper and that a bunker was going up, but aside from that, really just not that much additional information. Meanwhile, BeastyQt has, with that scan, thankfully, has seen all the tech now. But he hasn't scouted the third base. That's going to be important because that would have triggered Beasty possibly into some sort of timing, because he wants to be able to punish his opponent, obviously, for playing a bit more greedy. But he hasn't seen that yet, so it's unlikely he's going to be doing that soon.
Excuse me. Wow, Clyde really pulling out the weird openings today, going for that third command center and going for a Banshee instead. But so far, not a Banshee with Cloak, interestingly enough. He's got enough gas and minerals to do it, and certain types of delayed cloaked Banshee timings have kind of come and gone in the Korean TvT metagame, so I was wondering if maybe he was going to go for something like that, but it looks like it will just be an uncloaked Banshee. With the amount of gas he's got built up, it makes me wonder a little bit if he wants to go mech out of this, especially with the amount of Hellions he has.
Yeah,
but
that's
I feel
lot
like,
of Hellions.
You know, I just feel like it's going to be a little bit risky to do that because he's going to get the big beefy units that are going to keep him safe, like tanks and Thors, a little bit late, you know? I'm a bit confused by what Clyde is doing right now.
I don't really understand it either. I mean, it's... The number of Hellions that Clyde are producing are interesting, to say the least. He's actually up to 8 Hellions now, but Beastie's actually up to 7 himself. So we're seeing mass Hellions in a TvT.
And it is going to be mech from Clyde. 2 more factories going down there. Yeah, it certainly looked like mech from what he was kind of starting up.
Oh, nice positioning here from Beastie, able to get a couple of these Hellions caught off guard, but the reinforcements from Clyde going to be able to kill a few Hellions of his own, and now it looks like 4v3. Beastie is going to be heading home, trying to catch another one off guard. Both sides lose an additional Hellion, more or less evens coming out of that trade. As you predicted, DoA, we have got a Viking out on the field for Clyde. In the meantime, if we take a look at Beastie, he also, well, in fact, he has 2 out and a Raven.
There is a Banshee of Clyde's in the main base of BeastyQt as well, doing some damage here. Clyde really counting on that Banshee to keep his opponent in his base. He's going to lose it relatively quickly because of the lack of Cloak, and even if he had it, there's a Raven there as well. Killing some SCVs, the Workers Lost tab. Yeah, it's at 6, so that Banshee maybe sort of paid for itself. The big thing right now is that Clyde was able to keep the pressure off himself long enough to get that third base up and running. That was a big risk that Clyde took, but it ended up working. BeastyQt does not know the third base exists yet.
That's right. We are reaching a point in the game now where that huge risk that Clyde took earlier on is now beginning to pay off. He has got 3 factories constantly pumping out units now. We have got Blue Flame, Hellion, and Siege Mode simultaneously researching out of those factories. And Clyde will very, very soon have a sizable mech army. Once Siege Mode is complete as well, he will be able to cement his position. And as a result, he's just going to have a much earlier third base than BeastyQt. It's worth noting that Beastie is about to finish his 3rd command center, but this has been mining for quite some time.
Yes, indeed has. You can see Clyde already taking a bit of a supply lead, so usually when you play mech like this, we'll see what he does with his upgrades. That's going to kind of determine a lot of push timing as well. He is getting a +1 vehicle weapon started right now, but a lot of times you'll see Terran players push with mech builds at around the 150 supply to 200 mark. It kind of depends, again, like I mentioned, on the upgrades. If you're going for like a 3-3 sort of mech push, usually wait till you're maxed out because it takes a little bit longer. What Clyde is doing, though, starting things off with just 1 armory, I would imagine we're probably going to see him get a little bit aggressive around that 150 supply mark, which is coming up fairly soon. But if you look at the unit counting station right now, Clyde, 3 tanks, he's got 14 Hellions, he's got a Viking and a Raven out right now. He's going to be able to really increase that tank count rapidly, and he's got 2 Thors on the way, which is going to help him against his opponent's tanks as well. Yeah, I think we're going to see Clyde, we'll see. I mean, I think it's better, personally, to wait until you're about maxed out, but you can do some damage. Oh, and getting aggressive with those Hellions.
Very nice there, actually able to pick off a little bit, and Beastie is going to be just that little bit more wary of populating this third base too quickly, sending out a couple of Hellions there to protect both sides, of course, going for Blue Flame, and now both sides have actually finished it as well, but a 4th base being taken from Clyde here, so he is continuing the greed with more greed, and why the heck not? I mean, he knows he must be ahead because that 3rd command center was not scouted earlier on, so he was able to get a huge advantage off of that. In fact, the 3rd and the 4th still haven't been scouted from BeastyQt. In the meantime, his mech army is now starting to take shape. 2 Thors are now out on the map with a decent number of tanks as well. He has more factories than his opponent. It's 5 factories to 3 as it currently stands. Because I think Beasty is going for more of a bio-mech kind of composition. I saw him adding on... Did I see him add on more buildings earlier on? I swear I saw a barracks. Maybe not. There we go in the southern corner here. Just building tech labs by the looks of things. So Beasty maybe adding a couple more factories on in the base soon. But Clyde definitely has a huge lead in production capability here. BastyQt
is going for kind of a different style of things. He's going for more of an air-oriented mech play. He's relying largely on tanks for his ground army, but getting Banshees and Vikings for his air army. He'll certainly be able to have the air upgrade or air lead. He's going to have the air advantage. He's going to have more units in the air, but the thing is, if Clyde positions his Thors well, the Banshees won't be as much of a factor. So it's going to be really, really interesting when these armies collide, actually, to see exactly what is going to beat what. Clyde's army is overall more powerful, so to speak, but BastyQt's army has the ability to get that air advantage fast, swoop in, do a lot of damage, and then get away quickly, too. So we're going to see. It's again, you know, that clash of styles that we talked about earlier. Clyde, again, proving himself to be the methodical, safe player, BastyQt the aggressive one.
And here comes Hellions at the 4th base here. BastyQt going to be going for a little bit of roasting here. Clyde losing some SCVs at the 4th base. Fortunately, not too many. There were about 6 or 7 there, but not exactly saturated just yet. The Hellions now going to try and poke and see if they can do damage anywhere else. But look at this! Beasty sees this absolutely huge mech army at the moment, and what does he have out on the field? He has 11 Vikings, 10 tanks. So he's going effectively for the Viking tank composition that we saw a little bit of in Game 1. But whoa, holy Hellion, Batman. So
yeah, well, I mean, you need a lot. You need those Hellions to do damage, but also, more importantly, to buffer for your tanks. So Clyde's situation right now, he's going to check that 4th base first. You're going to see him poke with the Hellions in just a moment, probably to do that. In fact, I think he just did.
He's got a Raven over there. Yeah. Very nice.
He doesn't actually need to attack right now, so to speak. All he needs to do is contain and take more bases. He's taking a 5th base right now. He's got his 4th mine and gas, which is the most important thing. But all Clyde needs to do is keep his opponent on 3 bases.
And if you can do that long enough, of course, you're able to starve your opponent, especially since, look at this, he is expanding. This is almost Zerg level play here. He's double expanding behind this as well. And you just have to ask yourself at this point, why not? He's starting to develop a bit of a bank.
Oh, he's going up there.
Supply, and here we go.
Oh, this is a bold move by Clyde. Will it pay off? He's got such a big tank ball right now. Those Thors carefully tucked away in the middle of the point defense drone, goes down to save some of the Vikings from the Thor shots. Clyde, though, you know, this is like I was talking about. It's going to be really difficult to push up here, but he's going to continue to try it. He's just going to bull rush his way in.
And I think he might have at least a moderate degree of success as well. There are 4 Hellions in the back, so while the main push is going on, he is able to possibly head into the mineral line. No, the Hellions are in fact going to be absorbing some damage, and this is not a cost-efficient trade for Clyde here, but he really wants to get a good position. And we've got a counterattack over here at the 3rd. Oh my goodness, Hellions roasting everything from everywhere, but some of those did actually belong to Clyde, so he was able to clean up Hellions with some of his own.
Yeah, Clyde getting a big supply lead right now. You know, it's the number of bases that he has, and it's also the ability to get in there, kill a lot of SCVs at his opponent's 3rd base. So right now, Clyde does have that advantage, but he needs to still be a little bit careful. I think, though, honestly, he's getting to the point where the supply lead is getting a little bit too high. BastyQt throwing down a fusion core, gonna try to stop this with battle cruisers, but it's very iffy whether or not he'll be able to get those out in time to take advantage of the fact that Clyde is a little bit low on Vikings.
Oh, and we have got 2 Thors in the middle of the map, trying to pick off some unsieged tanks, but not quite able to do so. Wisely heading back home, and Clyde is coming dangerously close now to sneaking some tanks up here on this little ridge on the left-hand side. If he does that, he'll be able to start shelling away at the 3rd, and Beasty will mine out. What is the current mineral situation? It looks like Clyde is mining more, but not by too much just yet, as Beasty hasn't mined out, but he has no way of taking a 4th, as we do have another 2 Hellions going to be popping in at this 5th base. Only 2 SCVs there, though.
Yeah, BastyQt doing a good job of trying to cut the worker numbers, but Clyde moving up the ramp right now, taking out more siege tanks, really locking down that 3rd base location, and now BastyQt is in huge trouble. There are tanks absolutely everywhere, and they are not blue, they're pink, which means they're Clyde's.
Indeed. They've, very nice. Clyde has now secured the 3rd, and all Beasty can really do is sit back and watch. I mean, his tank count has been reduced to 2, DoA, and there were 20 tanks out for Clyde. That's a lot of tanks.
Yeah, 174 to 109. BastyQt basically reduced to no mining right now, except the minerals that are left at his natural expansion and the few left to add his main. Clyde getting that great contain. He is losing some tanks to the Banshees, but look at that, picking up the Thor, moving it back in time. Air Thor is here. Those tanks are going to be fine.
Excellent play coming. And look at this, just sieging up complete surround of the natural here. We still have, oh, here we go, the 2 Banshees now going to be doing a bit of damage, but the problem is, hang on, even if he's doing damage to this orbital command, it's the 6th base, DoA. There are so many bases out on the map for Clyde at the moment that it basically doesn't matter.
Now
and look at this.
Take a look. Oh yeah, well that's there too, but yes, there are things there, but I wanted to point attention to the 3rd base of BastyQt right now, where Clyde has landed mules out of his extra orbitals to repair up that Thor. Although those mules are lazy.
They're not repairing.
Those are some lazy mules that should be repairing that Thor, but the idea is still sound.
Yes, that was a nice idea, but
I like the, oops, that's great. It's the thought that counts, right?
I'm sure that's what the Thor driver's thinking as well.
That's right. He's like, come on, fix me.
Oh, here we go.
The battle cruisers are here, and Thors don't work very well. Mass repair with mules on that Thor against the battle cruisers. This has been an insane series between these 2 players, and you know what? Clyde does not have a way to get that air advantage back right now. He's making 5 Vikings at once, but will they get out in time?
Oh, and the Thor goes down. The mules aren't enough. There are 4 mules now in the middle of the map, and here we go. The Vikings have arrived. They are going to be able to kite these battle cruisers, and he does have 1 more, but he needs to be careful. BastyQt overall still with air dominance, and one of the battle cruisers goes down.
That's right, the other one getting a little bit low. Clyde moving those mules in to repair that Thor yet again. Another round of Vikings coming up for Clyde right now. So it's like I mentioned earlier with those battle cruisers, I just don't think that they got here in time to really save BastyQt. It was a brilliant decision to go for them, but Clyde just seems to be able to handle it. He's got the income to make this switch that normally you wouldn't be able to do.
2 Hellions took out the Thor that was scuttered a little while ago, and BastyQt going to be moving out once again, going to try and get as much harassment damage as he can done against Clyde at the moment. The problem is Clyde is everywhere at once. 3 of these Hellions are going to be moving in, and oh no, fortunately they were on attack move, not move command, and BastyQt is going to lose 3 of those pretty quickly indeed. Another one here at the 5th base location.
Taking out a Thor.
Oh dear.
But there's so many Vikings out right now for Clyde. He can kite that very, very carefully. It's going to be just who can make the most Vikings. Clyde's not going to be able to get any of his own battle cruisers anytime soon. And the big deal right now is that it is +1 vehicle weapons, or air weapons rather, for BastyQt, where Clyde does not have any upgrades yet for air.
So we'll have to wait and see whether Clyde can get those upgrades fast enough, or if Beastie is going to be able to break out of this contain. He's actually doing a good job of picking off the tanks here at his own 3rd base. And the number of Vikings, let's just do a quick count. 11 Vikings to 10 Vikings, now 13 to 10 in favor of Beastie. But somewhere on the map, Clyde does actually have a Raven, and you know what? He's not going to change it. He's actually just moving back. What a smart move. He knows how far ahead he is.
BastyQt going making another great decision, making Seeker Missile. That is great to use against big groups of Vikings. So he's preparing for a big comeback here. If BastyQt comes back, man, that is going to be one of the most amazing TvT comebacks I think I have ever seen.
It will be. We have the world's happiest Hellion over here. He literally just got dropped in the middle of about a quadrillion mules, finally getting picked up.
That's pretty nice.
A few more going to be heading towards the 6th base of Clyde. They are going to get shut down very quickly indeed, and this is what happens when a mech army is mobile and not parked in one place. My god, those tanks look scary.
Yeah, the battle cruisers, though, there's still 3 remaining for BastyQt. He's got a good amount of Vikings. Seeker Missile, like I mentioned, is going to be helpful. Oh, a bad rally from Clyde, losing a couple of Vikings there, leaving those when he should have moved them away a little bit early. It does tell him, however, that his opponent is moving out right now. Clyde trying to sneak some Hellions around the outside as well. So still, you know, doing good with his multitasking here.
Oh, and it looks like the Hellions are going to get into the 3rd base. They need to not attack the tank, or at the very least take it out before they go for those SCVs. Yes, here they come. The tank goes down, and the SCVs, we have a barbecue over here at the 3rd base. BastyQt is losing so much supply in SCVs right now. The army does come back, but so many have been killed. Workers killed now up to 79, and that's not workers total, that's workers killed.
Yeah, only 22 SCVs left for BastyQt. He doesn't really have a lot of mining to do with them anyway, so that's kind of okay, honestly. But Clyde still very, very threatening. He's going for 2-2 in the air. The Raven count is starting to go up for BastyQt, though, and he's going to have energy very soon for Seeker Missile.
Scout.
Here we go. That's a lot of Vikings clumped up. One Seeker Missile could do a lot of damage to that. Oh, the command center bouncing back up. dying.
And do we see the Seeker missiles coming out? We do have 3 Ravens with a lot of energy. They're not quite enough for Hunter Seeker missile, though. 125 energy. It is
It really is, yeah. 114 energy, I believe, on the highest Raven. Yeah, about that much. About 120 energy, so they're really close. It's so close. If he gets a good Seeker missile, it could make a big difference. Oh, the Raven's coming out in front. He loses 2 Ravens.
That is absolutely huge. We have got enough for Hunter Seeker missile. One
there it
goes off, and boom.
Oh, but not the
is
most
it going to be
effective
enough?
one. GG! And Clyde, in a nail-biting finish, is able to take out Beastyqt. Wow, but Beastyqt looking so strong in that TvT, nearly coming back in that last game, making all the right decisions, but just too far behind in the end to really make a show of it.
He really showed what he was capable of, especially in game number 1. Game 2 could have gone either way. It was an absolutely insane slugfest.
Yeah.
And game 3 looked like it was going to start off a bit weird, and then gradually became what was really epic endgame.
That was a great TvT series. We saw 3 games, 3 very different games, and in the end, we saw a player who really played great triumph. I mean, Clyde held off the cheese, played a great mech game in game 3.
Very much
awesome. Couldn't ask for anything more from a TvT series.
No, that was absolutely fantastic. That was possibly the best TvT series I've cast this year. That was we got showcased a number of different styles.
Yeah, it's a good variety.
And all of them were very close as well. It wasn't like, oh, in this game, one player crushed the other because we had rock, paper, scissors with these different styles. It was nothing like that. These guys had a difference of opinion, and they slugged it out in a boxing ring.
Pretty much.
Both of them came out bruised and battered, but unfortunately, Beastyqt going down there. Clyde, well played to him, is going to be taking that series win 2-1.